Hello and welcome back to everybody on the Football Zone, and today we're looking at world-class players turn world-class managers. It's become more and more common in recent years that we've seen some of these incredible players becoming incredible managers. In the case of Pep Guardiola, we've come some world-class players managing the Premier League, potentially more unsuccessfully, like Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard, but we're going to rank the 10 best overall, so let's get straight into it. And starting off with number 10, Jupp Heynckes, a serial winner as a player who went on to win the Champions League as manager of Real and Bayern. He was a member of that Mönchengladbach side that lost the 77 Cup final to Liverpool. However, during his time he won the UEFA Cup, free Bundesliga title in the German club, and was on the sub bench when West Germany won the 74 World Cup, but played for his country as they won the 72 Euros. As a manager, he won the Champions League with Madrid in 1988, the first European club in 32 years, and then 15 years later, in his final season as Real boss, won the treble, the Champions League, Bundesliga and German Cup. Brian even coaxed him out of retirement in 2017 to replace the sacked CARLO Ancelotti as they won the league and reached the Champions League semis. Number 9, Kenny Dalglish, a sublime playing talent who kept on winning as a manager, even claiming a double in his first season as Liverpool player boss, scoring the title, clinching a goal himself, arguably the greatest British footballer of them all. His one goal won Liverpool the 78 European Cup, a trophy he won on 2 more occasions with the Reds, in addition to 6 league titles, 4 League Cups and 1 FA Cup as player manager, not forgetting the 4 Scottish League crowns claimed with Celtic before he went south of the border to Anfield. Later he won the English League 3 times as Red boss, once as player manager, another FA Cup title in 89 and a 94-95 Premier League title as manager of Blackburn. A Scottish League Cup followed as Celtic manager in 2000, and then he completed his domestic set as Liverpool manager, and he returned to win the 2012 League Cup on his return to Anfield. At 8 is Diego Simeone, Argentine hero who excelled as a player in Spain this season before upsetting the odds as Atletico Madrid manager. He represented Argentina 106 times, winning the Copa Americas in addition to club success with Atletico Madrid, 1996 League Cup double, Inter 1998 UEFA Cup and Lazio 2000 Serie A title. After returning to Argentina and to wind up his playing career, his managerial path began with Houston Hades, where he claimed the El Piata title, then Nicolas Sando with River Plate. These successes earned him a return to Atletico, where he won the Europa League and Spanish Cup and La Liga, breaking Barcelona and Real Madrid's dominance. His Atletico came within a whisker of winning the 2014 and 2016 Champions League finals too. Number 7 is Brian Clough. From phenomenal goal scorer to manager of the most incredible European Cup triumphs ever, Clough's goal record reads like this. 197 goals in 213 league games for Middlesbrough and 54 goals in 61 games for Sunderland. Sadly, a serious injury later halted his career prematurely in 62. He in 65, when he was 30, began joining 2nd Division Derby in 67, winning promotions to the top 5 and later the 1st Division. A spell at Brighton and 44 days stint at Leeds followed before Clough took over struggling 2nd Division club Nottingham Forest. Remarkably, he guided them to the 1st Division title in 78 in their first year back in Div 1, then back-to-back European Cups in 79 and 80. The League Cup was also claimed in 78, 79 and 89 and 90, and though the FA Cup eluded Clough as his Forest side lost the 1991 final to Tottenham. Number 6 is Mario Zagallo, the first person to win the World Cup as a player and a manager. He was involved in 2 of the greatest teams of all time, first as a player then a manager, becoming the first player to win the World Cup and off the pitch. The winger was part of the brilliant 1958 Brazil side that lifted the Jules Rimet trophy, then featured in the 62 team that successfully defended the Cup. In 70 he was the manager of the legendary team that claimed the World Cup glory in Mexico and was assistant coach to the 1994 winners. Number 5 is CARLO Ancelotti, back-to-back European Cup winners as a player, who is the only second man to win 3 European Cups as a manager, Serie A champion and full-time Italian Cup winner with Roma in his playing days. He was also a midfielder in the all-conquering Milan side of the late 80s and 90s, though he won the successive European Cups and 2 Serie A titles, as well as scoring a memorable long-range strike in the 89 5-0 thrashing of Real Madrid in the European Cup semis. He was also part of the Italian team that finished 3rd at the 1990 World Cup and will go on to carve out a ridiculously successful post-playing career. His first major honour was the 2003 Italian Cup, shortly followed by the Champions League, and he has gone on to become only the second man to win 4 European Cup winning teams, winning once again with Milan in 2007 and Real Madrid later on twice. Adding to this, a Premier League and FA Cup double with Chelsea, the French title with PSG and a Spanish Cup with Madrid, and you're looking at quite the CV, that's for sure. Number 4, Zinedine Zidane, the greatest of his generation and Champions League king. It can't be luck, as some people say, and no, it's not true that anyone could do what he did with Real Madrid. Not since 1958 had a Real side won the league and European doubles. Zidane did it in just his second season. His first also included winning the competition in 2 successful years, saw him become the first manager to do it since Arrigo Sacchi 27 years earlier. It's all very impressive. Despite a poor defence of his league crown, Real were into their 3rd consecutive Champions League final. Yeah, talking about Zidane, the player, World Cup and Euro winner, of course, a league winner in both Italy and Spain at Juve and Real Madrid, where he also won the Champions League and player, and yeah, he scored one of the greatest volleys in football history, of course, in that 2003 final. Moving on then to number 3, and that's FRANZ Beckenbauer, World Cup winning captain and manager, inventor of the sweeper role and European Cup legend, and the Kaiser is quite simply one of the most important figures in the history of the game. As a player, he best rode the second half of the 60s and the 70s, redefining the role of centre-back, and was most commonly referred to as a sweeper. He spearheaded the rise of Bayern Munich, winning 4 Bundesliga titles and 3 back-to-back European Cups with the club, while also skippering West Germany to 72 European Championship and 74 World Cup glory. As his playing career wound down, he still had time to help handbag to the 1982 Bundesliga title before taking the reins as West Germany manager. A 1986 World Cup final defeat to Argentina was avenged in 1990 when Beckenbauer became the first man to captain and manage a nation to a World Cup win. With Marseille, he claimed the 1991 title, while he had brief spells in charge of Bayern, landing them the 1994 German title and 1996 UEFA Cup. To Pep Guardiola, playing in Barcelona's European Cup winning dream team before creating a giant team of his own, then dominating German football. Now regarded as the best manager in the world, he didn't do too badly as a player, breaking into Barcelona's first team in the 1991-2 season. He ended it in a Spanish league title winner and most impressively a European Cup hero, as he helped the club claim their first long overdue success in the competition. Much more was to follow as Guardiola became a key figure in Barca's so-called dream team, claiming the Liga title in 1993 and 94, the Cup Winners' Cup in 97, as well as the Spanish Cup he also won a year later. 2 more league titles followed in 88, 98 and 99, but 10 years later as manager of a football club, he won an incredible 6 trophies in the same calendar year, and has added the Champions League, 2 Spanish titles, 2 Spanish Cup, 2 Bundesligas, 1 German Club, the Premier League and League Cup, and much more, of course, as Man City manager. But he's just been pipped to number 1 by Johan Cruyff, one of the greatest ever footballers, a phenomenally successful manager and a figure of hope of influence across the borders in the years. Without Cruyff, it's doubtful Pep would have achieved all this. He's arguably the most influential figure in football history, being one of the greatest players to ever grace the game, then one of the greatest managers. As a player, he was the main man in Ajax's revolutionary brand of total football, inspiring the early 70s. For Netherlands, Cruyff was majestic at the 74 World Cup, and despite losing the final to West Germany, his performances in Dutch style of play earned him iconic status. He moved to Barcelona to play in 73 and inspired them for 14 years, their first league title, before returning home to win the Dutch title with Feyenoord, and then taking over as Ajax boss and winning the 87 Cup Winners' Cup, their first European honour since his playing days. The Barca job followed, and he revolutionised the way the club played its football, not only picking up numerous trophies but imbuing a style that has since become famous. Anyway guys, that's it really. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, don't thoughts, comments down below, follow the show for daily football news and subscribe to my channel, would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.